In this video, you will learn about managing ophthalmic medications. To manage medications, you will first access the medication screen in MedFlow. All ophthalmic medications are to be managed in the MedFlow system. Logged in as the technician and going to the specialized exam screen, you will notice that when you access the medication screen, the radio button for current medication defaults. You'll use the history section to manage these medications. The first radio button is for current. If the patient is currently taking the medication listed Alphagan, you will highlight the medication and select the current button, and then choose Update. You will notice that the action taken will show current medication as of today's date. If you need to edit the compliance of the medication, you will choose the radio button Edit Compliance. You will notice then a field opens up where you can choose how the patient is truly using these medications. For example, this patient is using the medication once a day in both eyes instead of how the medication was prescribed. After typing in the compliance, you will choose the Update button. You will notice the original instructions are listed with the compliance of how the patient is truly using the medication. If the patient is compliant with the medication, you can select the radio button for Compliant and then choose Update. If you need to delete this medication, if you've entered it in by error, you can choose the Delete radio button and then choose Update. If the patient is on an eye drop that your doctor has not prescribed, to enter this information, you will select from the list. You can select from the list on the right-hand side of the screen or choose from your drop-down arrows. First, I'm going to choose that my patient is currently using Acular. Next, I'm going to choose the dosage. This indicates the number of applications for any given medication. The next drop-down is your form type. This indicates the method of application for use. For example, if it's one drop. The frequency, which is the next drop-down, indicates the usage instructions for the patient. For example, if it's for twice a day or 3 times a day, you will select from this drop-down. The next drop-down is the route. This indicates the method of administration. For example, I'm going to choose for both eyes. The next drop-down is your dispense. This indicates the type to be dispensed. Example, if it's for a bottle or a tube of ointment, you would select the tube. And then you will insert the medication. After selecting the Insert button, a calendar will populate where you can select the date that the patient was prescribed this medication. After selecting the date, you will notice that it populates down at the bottom of the screen with the date and the medication that you just added. Now logged in as the doctor, I'm going to go into the RX screen to prescribe a medication. You will notice by accessing the exam screen, it defaults to prescription given. The doctor will then manage the medications that the patient's currently taking. The provider will use the Plan section at the bottom of the screen. If the plan is for the patient to continue the Alphagan, you will click on Alphagan, then select the plan to continue, then Update. You will notice that the last action has changed. If the doctor wants to discontinue the medication, you will select the Discontinue button and then Update. You will notice that there's a radio button for refill. If you wish to give a refill on the Alphagan, you will click the Alphagan, select the refill, and then choose to Update. You can then make any changes to the prescription on the screen. When complete, you will select the Save Meds Changes. You will receive a pop-up, "Are you sure you want to add this refill as a new prescription and discontinue the original prescription?" If the patient needs a change in the instructions but you're not giving a refill, you will choose No Refill Change SIG. For the Acular, I'm going to choose No Refill Change SIG. then select the Update button. This will allow you to change the instructions, but will not add it to your list of items to refill. In this example, I'm going to choose to prescribe Siloxane drops. When selecting the Siloxane drops, you will notice that there is pre-configured items that the doctor can have. For example, if you want on your list 1 drop BID in both eyes, you can have that pre-configured so that you don't have to choose from the drop-down list. When selecting this, you will notice that it fills into the appropriate areas. Then select the bottle. You can then change your refills, write any message to the pharmacist, or any additional SIG instructions, and then insert the medication. You will notice that the medication will populate at the top of the screen as a prescription given. Next, you'll select the ERX button to send these prescriptions to the pharmacy. You will then verify that the patient's medications that you prescribed has populated. You will then select Take Complete RX to Review page. If there are any drug-to-drug or drug-to-allergy or drug-to-disease found with prescribing this medication, you will notice that it will populate at the top of the screen. When you're ready to transmit the medications to the pharmacy, you will select the Transmit RX button. In green, you will notice the last pharmacy that was selected for this patient. If you need to choose a different pharmacy, you can choose from your list or search for a new pharmacy by clicking on Add Pharmacy. To transmit the prescription, you will click Transmit RX and Add to Record. This concludes the video on managing medications.